All right, welcome to this video. We will be looking at network attacks and mitigation, looking at some layer 2 mitigations here. We're going to understand risk mitigation at the data link layer, and we're going to learn best practices for configuring layer 2 mitigation settings on our Cisco switches, as you see on the screen in front of you. Let's go ahead and begin. So I've got my demo configuration here set up, right? And what I want to do is the first thing I want to do is make sure I've got my VLANs created, do some basic configuration, and best configuring best configuration practices to prevent VLAN attacks. Okay, so my router 1 has an IP address, right? And I'm not going to change that one, but I am going to go ahead and set up the VLANs on my switch 1 and my switch 2. So let's go ahead and begin here. So first thing I want to do is I want to navigate to switch 1, right? And I'm going to go to my command line interface. I'm going to go ahead and press enter, and let's get this started. So first thing I want to do is choose enable, right? And I want to configure my terminal. All right, you see I'm in the config screen now, and I'm going to create VLAN 10, right? And I'm going to call this one my management layer. All right, I'm going to exit. I'm going to go to VLAN 20, and I'm going to call this one my sales, and I'm going to exit, and then I'm going to do VLAN 30. I'm going to call this one HR. Then I'm going to exit. We're going to repeat the same steps on switch number 2. Enable, configure terminal, VLAN 10, name is management, and exit. VLAN 20, name is sales, exit, and then VLAN 30, name HR. All right, and we are good with switch number 2. Next, I want to configure my ports to be access mode and assign my VLANs. And for VLAN 10, I'm going to be doing fast Ethernet 01. For VLAN 2, fast Ethernet 02, and then VLAN 30, fast Ethernet 03. Let's go ahead and configure those. I'm going to close out this and open back up switch 1, right? I'm still in my config screen, so let's go ahead and set up fast Ethernet 01. So let's go to interface, fast Ethernet 01, switch port, mode access. I'm going to say switch port access VLAN 10. Check your syntax, make sure everything is looking good, and then you can type exit. Go to the same thing now for interface, Ethernet 02, switch port, mode, access, and then I'm going to say switch port, access, VLAN 20, and then the same thing on fast Ethernet 3, enter. All right, say interface fast Ethernet 03, switch port mode access, and then switch port access VLAN 30. All right, let's exit out of here, and let's do the same thing on switch number 2. All right. So interface to fast Ethernet 01. Whoops. Check my syntax here. All right. Oh, forgot a space there. There we go. Exit out of there. Interface fast Ethernet 0/2. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 20. All right, exit out of there, and then interface fast Ethernet 03. Switch port mode access. Oh, extra S there, not needed. I get the typos just like you. All right, and let's do, yep, switch port access VLAN 30. All right, we've configured that. We are ready to move on. All right, now I want to configure my trunk connection between switch 1 and switch 2. So I'm going to navigate back to switch 1, go to my command line interface here. Okay, what I want to do is I want to say interface gigabit Ethernet. Just checking my syntax here. Gigabit Ethernet 0/1. Switch port mode is going to be trunk. Okay. All right, it's down now. It is up. And I'm going to press exit and then exit out of my config screen. All right, let's do the same thing on switch 2. Interface gigabit Ethernet 01. Switch port mode trunk and then exit and then exit. And then what I want to do, all right, so what I want to do now is I want to verify that the VLAN and trunk configuration is set up. So let me go ahead and I'm going to switch back to VLAN. I'm going to take a look at my configuration and just do a quick spot check here. So let's go to switch when and then show VLAN brief, right? I'm not going to show everything, but the truncated version of my configuration here. And let's see what we have here. So I've got VLAN 10 is management. It is active on Fast Ethernet 01. On 20, we've called that sales 02. And then VLAN 30, HR 03, and it is active. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on switch 2. Show VLAN brief. And let's see what we got here. Management is on 10 active, good. Sales is on VLAN 20 active, good. And then VLAN 30 HR active, fast Ethernet 3. All right, everything is looking really good here. Next thing I want to do is I want to disable dynamic trunking protocol negotiation on ports connected to my end devices. So let me close that, switch 2, and switch back to switch 1 for this setting here. And I'm going to go back to my configure screen. So I'm going to type in configure terminal. All right. And I want to say interface range. I'm doing all of them this time. I'm going to say fast Ethernet 1 to 3. Switch port. Negotiate. See, NEG. Oh, no negotiate. There we go. And I'm going to say exit. And then exit. I'm going to do the same thing on switch 2. Configure terminal. Interfaced fast Ethernet 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Check my syntax here again. Oops, I forgot my range command. Whoops, nope. Range. There we go. And then switch port, no negotiate. And then exit. All right, now let's verify that my dynamic trunk protocol is not active. I'm going to do that on switch 1 and switch 2. Let's start with switch 1. I can type in the command show interfaces switch port, and we are looking for negotiation or trunking is off. We see that there. All right, let's do the same thing. Good for VLAN 20. And then fast Ethernet 03. Negotiation of trunking off. Very good. Let's move on to switch 2. All right, let's type in. Let's type show interfaces switch port. Okay. Off on here. Very good. Fast Ethernet 3 HR. Okay. VLAN 10. All right. We have verified that, and we are looking good. Cool. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create a new VLAN on switch 1 and switch 2, and I'm going to give it the ID of 100, and it's going to be called native. And this is going to be the native VLAN between both of these switches here. Okay, now you're going to see an error, and that's okay, but because only one side is configured, a native VLAN mismatch will occur. The native VLANs must be identical on both sides of the trunk link. All right, so let's go ahead and get that set up on switch 1 first, and then we're going to replicate it on switch 2. All right, let's just go back to configure, terminal. I'm going to type in VLAN 100. I'm going to call this one native. All right. I want to type in exit. I'm going to set up my gigabit 01. So I'm going to say interface, gigabit, Ethernet 01. And I'm going to say switch port trunk native VLAN 100. And you see I did get that error, right? I did warn you about that one. Let's go ahead and switch to switch 2 and repeat the same thing. So I'm going to say configure terminal. All right. I'm going to say VLAN 100. Name is going to be native. Exit. Interface. Gigabit. Ethernet. 01. Switch port. Trunk. Native VLAN 100. All right. And then exit. All right. Next, I want to verify my trunk settings. And let's do that one. Let's go to switch number 1, and let's verify my VLAN settings and make any corrections if I have any typos here. Right. So I am going to go to my config screen, and let's just type do show interface trunk. All right, let's take a look here. So I've got my gigabit 1. Okay. Looks good. Trunking on 100. All right, yeah, VLANs is looking good. Let's take a look at switch number 2. I'm looking for right here. Gigabit 01. Mode is on. Tagging, trunking. That looks good. Switch 2. Do show interface trunk. And again, we've got gigabit 01, trunking 100. All right, so we verified our settings. We're good. Let's go ahead and now configure our port security on this one here. Okay, so on both devices, we're going to enable port security on all ports connected to our end devices and set the violation mode to restrict PCs. And we're going to set the method to sticky. All right, here we go. Let's go to switch number 1. So we're going to lock these down. All right, so I'm still in my config screen, so I'm fine. So I'm just going to say interface range fast Ethernet 01 to 3. I'm going to say switch port security. And I'm going to make it restrictive. So I'm going to say switch port security violation restrict switch port security MAC address sticky. And then exit that. All right, we'll do the same thing on switch number 2. So interface, fast Ethernet, sorry, range. Switch port security. Violation, restrict. Then I want switch port security, MAC address, sticky. All right, exit out my config screen. Fantastic. Okay, so I've got my port set up. Now it's time to send a ping from each device to another device on the same VLAN. Let's see if we are successful. All right. So let's start off with PC number 1. Okay, I'm going to go to my desktop here, go to my command prompt, and the first thing I want to do is I want to ping my, let's see, IP address 192.168.10.20. All right, and we see that one is successful. All right, so let's take a look at the other ones as well. Desktop, command prompt, ipconfig. So that one's on 20. I just jotting this down, 20.10, and then PC3 is going to be on 30.10. All right, command prompt. Okay, 10.20, and let's do PC5. Okay, 20.20. Let's do this ping 192.168.20.10. And as you see, I've got connectivity there, so good. And then we'll take a look at PC6. Command prompt. 30.20. Let's do ping 192.168.30.10. All right, and we have connectivity on our VLANs. Very good. Let's keep on going here. And let's verify our port security on our connected devices at the interface level. I'm going to go ahead and go to command prompt here, and let's just go to exit here, get back to my main screen, and then I want to type in show port security. And you see on 1, 2, and 3, it is set to restrictive. That's what we want to see. Let's go the interface. Let's take a look at the security on Fast Ethernet 01. So I can do that by typing in show port security interface Fast Ethernet 01. And we get a nice little detailed view. Port security is enabled. Violation mode is set to restrict, right? And we do have our last source address of VLAN, right? So that is good. We can do the same thing on switch 2. Again, as you do these things, it's good to spot check, right? Make sure everything is good. Document as you go to follow best practices. All right, so let's do show port security. And as you see, everything is set to restrictive. We can do the same thing, show port security. Interface, fast Ethernet 01. Port security is enabled. Violation mode is restrictive. Okay, next to, again, harden our network, we're going to disable all of our unused devices here. So all the unused ranges. So let's do that, right? We want to harden our network. Let's do configure terminal. And I'm going to say interface, range, fast Ethernet 0/4 to 24. And I'm going to say shut down, right? Blocking, making sure that those people are not being able to plug into, that switch. I'm going to say shut down, and you see that the port is now set to down. I'm going to say exit, and then exit again. Let's repeat on switch 2. Configure terminal, and I'm going to say interface range, fast Ethernet 04 to 24, shut down, exit, exit. Great. So we've locked down our switch, turned off those unnecessary ports, and now we want to configure CDP, which is going to prevent vulnerability of a CDP reconnaissance attack. Let's go ahead and do that with switch 1. All right. So I'm going to say configure terminal, interface range, fast Ethernet 01 to 24. Say no CDP, enable, exit, exit. Same thing on switch 2. Configure terminal, interface range, fast Ethernet, no CDP, enable, and then exit. All right. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our changes here. We're going to just type show CDP neighbors on a table on each switch and make sure that they're only operating on the interfaces that we selected here. So I'm going to type show CDP neighbors, and you see ours is looking properly only on the ports that we selected. Very good. And let's do the same thing on switch 2. Show CDP. Excellent. All right, so we're happy there. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at our interfaces here. So I'm going to do this on switch 1 and then switch 2. Switch 1, let's say show CDP interface. All right, so gigabit 01 is up, gigabit 02 is up. Let's do the same thing on switch 2. Show CDP interface, and there we go. It is up and running. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a quick test here on PC number 1 and verify the connections are able to connect via a ping. So let's hop back onto PC 1, right? And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ping 192.168.20.10. There we go. I've got connectivity. Let's do the same thing, 192.168.30.10. There we go. All right, I've got connectivity and our switches are locked down. Excellent. All right, hope you liked this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye.